Welcome to the Life's Best Medicine podcast, where we are finding hope and healing one episode at a time. No appointment needed, no rubber gloves, and no coping. Just a healthy dose of life lessons to help equip you for this wild journey we call life. Hello, everyone. This is a public service announcement. It is now September. Yes, it snuck up on us, but it tells you there's only a few more months till the holidays. So get ready. It's coming, but it's also National Chicken Month. So we're supposed to be eating chicken this month, apparently. So Chris Cornell is sitting next to me at the Low Carb USA conference. And what does he have? A bunch of Simply snacking chicken snacks in there. And I've been partial to the beef, I got to admit, but he got me hooked on some new flavors. The Italiano, there's the chicken and cherries, there's black beans and salsa flavor, and they're all decent. So that was what we lived on during the conference. He could just pull it out of his backpack. So I got a couple free samples from him, which was cool. And they were also a co-sponsor of the meeting. So a lot of our listeners, you're listening now, came up to me there and said, "Oh my gosh, this stuff's really great." They had never tried it before. So they said, "We know now why you have them as a sponsor." And I said, "Well, I'm not dumb. It's good stuff." So anyways, get out there, get your chicken this month. Next month, you can get back to the beef flavors. But Chris, thanks for sharing with me. I'm now hooked. And thanks for helping to get me through the conference, because we never had a break. Tons of great information, and it was fun the whole time. So Simply Snacking, thanks for sticking it to us with National Chicken Month. And everyone, I hope you enjoy this episode. Hello and welcome to the Life's Best Medicine podcast. This is a guy I've been wanting to get on for quite some time. It's hard because we're like 3 blocks from each other. We're both in San Diego, and we just keep crossing paths over and over again. So Jeff Kotterman, welcome, man. Welcome. Great to have you. You're a master of sports nutrition, right? And you train all the other sports nutrition people. You're training trainers, you're training health coaches. You're doing so much stuff out in the community, and we never get to see each other anymore because we're so swamped. So Jeff Kotterman, welcome, man. Good to have you.
Thanks. I'm just glad we have time to sit here and talk for a little bit, because before we really got immersed in metabolic health and this kind of new thing for me, it was very new. We had more time to talk. We had Taco Tuesdays there for weeks for a while there, and then all of a sudden stuff hit, and now it's like, hi, I'll see you later.
Yeah, it's crazy because you're up early and I'm up early, and you work late and I work late. By the time we're off, we say, okay, we'll do it next week. We'll figure it out. Yeah. But tell people about how we kind of cross paths, and like my wife used to work for you, man. I forgot about all that stuff.
Such a small world.
And your take was the low fat, right? Low fat, high carb. You said Gary Taubes was crazy, and that was your sport because you were dealing with athletes, world-class athletes. So tell people about what you were doing before and what you've been transitioning into over time, and how I've made your life crazy and difficult.
Yeah, you turned it upside down. So I've been doing this 30 years, a little while, and I always wanted to work with athletes because I felt athletes, they got it, that their why was big enough that they would work harder than the average person. They would eat stuff that not necessarily tasted good all the time. And we were always pushing from the 80s. When I started this in the 80s, we were pushing to get people to run faster and jump higher and beat their personal record and get on that varsity team, get on that D1 team, make that scholarship.
Get that little bit more of definition in their muscle. Like you have bodybuilders, all these big, huge guys you're working with, right?
Bodybuilders with just useless amounts of hypertrophy in their muscles, just thick, big muscles. It's so much muscle they couldn't even walk. Their thighs would rub together, and we were trying to make them bigger, and we were trying to make them leaner, and hey, maybe we can get some cross striations in there, and how low can we make their body fat? And that was fun for me because everybody was kind of a science experiment, and we were pushing the limits of human performance. We were looking at can we break school records? Can we break personal records? And I love the focus that I had with them. The problem with that, though, is that elite athletes are a very small percentage of the population. They have limited amounts of funds unless they're sponsored. they're very well, at least bodybuilders are in general, and I'm going to make a generalization. Not every bodybuilder is, but they tend to be narcissistic and very flesh oriented, and their whole life, their whole mood, everything centers around, even with some professional athletes, it centers around how well did they do? How was their last game? How was their last competition? Is everyone looking at me? Am I still going to be the best? And so that's what I was dealing with. And I was kind of, to be honest, I was sacrificing depth and character and working on the whole person, because their whole life was focused on this one area of their life. They're focused either on their look or their performance or their standing. And that was put above all else. That was kind of an idol in their life. And that kind of rubbed off on me. That my whole world was, I got to get this person. I got to go to this bodybuilding contest. I got to get this a girl as tan as she can be, and we got to work on her posing uniform. And it was somewhat superficial. You know, I don't know that the most important things in life for most people, or even for these people, are how fast they can run. I mean, for an Olympian, the night before the competition, of course, that's very important, but there still are more important things. And I think that when you and I finally met and we worked together initially, I think you saw where my business was, and Linnell saw where our business was. And we were dealing with people that were hurting, and we were dealing with people who were interested in fitness, but maybe not for the right reasons, you know?
Yeah, it's hard. It was all, performance based. Like if they won, they were happy with you. If they didn't win, they weren't happy. They could be as healthy as a horse and very fit, but if they didn't get that 1/10 of a second off, and that's a lot of pressure too. Because the human body, you could push it so far, and then it gets really, there's a lot more to the equation than just the physical part of it.
And we had people that you and I and Linnell worked with that were wealthy. They were successful in their business world, and they were going through a divorce or something. Their personal life was a wreck. So they focused on, if I just get 6-pack abs, if I just have Linnell cook for me in my home and Jeff train me and count every rep, then there's no way out. And I'm going to have a new life and a new wife, because everybody's going to love my abs and everybody's going to think that I'm just so fit and energetic. And they were working on kind of the outside in rather than the inside out. And I had realized back then that that's a small percentage of the population. I really had to market hard. I had to work hard. I was preaching that, let's do an hour of cardio a day. Let's eat 6 small meals a day. Let's make you more carb tolerant, which is just making them more insulin resistant. Let's see if you can handle more carbohydrate. Let's give you more. And I was fighting a losing battle. I don't think I was being blessed. I think that I might have good intentions in my mind, but my heart and my conscience knew that there was something wrong with what we were doing.
Well, but you knew the training you had, just as I did. And for me, an overweight, middle-aged doc, and I'm like I'm doing your workout and I'm gaining weight. I'm like, something's wrong. Yeah. Maybe I shouldn't be drinking Gatorade at 8 in the morning. Maybe I shouldn't be doing these things. Maybe I don't need the carb load, because maybe carbs. And then I went through this whole transition in my life and started looking, man, maybe this insulin resistance thing. And your world-class athletes don't really have to worry about that so much as the 350-pound diabetics that we both had in common. So, ultimately what happened is I started having some success with patients getting their metabolic health right. And I called you one fateful Friday afternoon on the way to a football game when I was the team doc. And I go, hey, Jeff, don't want to bug you, man, but what's your success like with obese people and diabetics? And
I immediately was defensive about it. I was immediately like, what do you mean? I've been doing this, 25 years. I've got, world-class athletes, world record holders. But it was still a small percentage of the population. It was still fighting an uphill battle. And I would stand by that success, even though the average Joe and a lot of athletes were struggling and not getting success with that. And I would focus on the people that had success.
Yeah, and I knew you're a great motivator. I know you're great with people. And I said, hey, Jeff, look, here's my problem. Because I see what you're doing, I can't in good conscience set my diabetic to you if you're going to carb load and then they're going to be on insulin, then we're getting in this trouble. Yeah. And so, ultimately, you were annoyed because it's Friday afternoon, you want to relax, and I know how hard you work. And we have this conversation. I'm on the sideline and people are trying to talk to him. I'm like, I hope no one gets hurt because Jeff and I are in a deep conversation here.
Yes.
But it was really great because you had the ability to go back and I go, here's some studies, take a look at them, tell me what you think, because you were worried about the cardiovascular, rightly so. And then,
and performance loss. I was worried about glycogen depletion, lean body mass loss, all the research that I had originally looked at and dismissed were short-term studies. Well, if you take the carbs out of this guy's life for 72 hours, of course he's not going to do well while he's going ketogenic. So I dismissed it. I'm not going to make somebody perform bad. I'm not going to make them feel bad or perform bad. That's just going to hurt me. And I thought that, honestly, when you first called, I thought that, what's he selling me? Is it, is this a supplement line? Is this what he wants me to buy some piece of equipment or buy into some program? And the more you talk to me, the more I realized you were really just talking out of the sincerity of your heart. This wasn't a sales pitch.
Well, and that was happy because I was like, I have nothing to gain other than having someone else in town who understands what I'm talking about. Because the worst thing is me sending you someone, you go, oh my gosh, no, you got a carb load. And I was like, well, I'm trying to cut the carbs, Jeff. And then we knew each other's integrity, but then you go, gosh, and I get it. I was laughing because I go, you think I'm trying to sell you something, don't you? I have nothing to gain. I don't make any money if you put someone low carb or you carb load them like crazy. I have no financial interest. But for me, I was looking at patients who were in need, and I'm like, gosh, if we can start putting muscle mass on people and get them more insulin sensitive, if we can do it in the right way, it's a great partnership. Like we could help a lot of people.
So so I'm talking to the listeners, but what you actually did was give me research that seemed unbiased, seemed just neutral. And I forget the name of the study. The one that hit me the hardest was this 10-year study over multiple countries.
Oh, the PURE trial.
Yes. And there it is. People live longer on lower carb, higher fat than high carb, low fat. I mean, just black and white. And I said, okay. And what's this insulin thing? I'm a fit guy. This doesn't apply to me. So here I am, around 210, close to 210, lower body fat. I go and get my fasting insulin measured, and it's 10. And I'm like, well, that's not perfect. I'm supposed to be a fit guy. And I'm eating oatmeal in the morning. I'm eating brown rice. These are low glycemic carbs. Why would my fasting insulin after 12 hours be 10? So I start to do the intermittent fasting and things like that. And things rapidly happen to me to the point where we were going to Taco Tuesday. I remember talking to this is Keto Taco Tuesday. We went to this place in Bird Rock in San Diego where
everyone tried to sell us exogenous ketones.
Remember that? Yes, remember that?
Yeah.
But we would have some ketogenic friendly or low carb friendly tacos, and I had to up my calories because I went from 206 to 196.
Like that instantly, and you got insulin like so ridiculous because you have so much muscle mass and your visceral fat was lower than most people, and you just burned it away so quick. And I remember your wife coming up to me, my husband has no butt anymore, what do I do? He lost so much weight. Remember, she was bad. I'm like, I don't know what to tell you. We don't see people lose that much weight that quickly because you're a work, and plus you're just like, tell people what your work schedule is like. You have a ridiculous schedule, right? You're up early in the morning and late at night. And
so the alarm goes off either 3:30 or 4:30, depending upon the clients. And then my first client is either at 5 in the morning. And I, for a while there, because of this influx, I've been booked all the way till 8 o'clock at night. I'll have one meal in between. I'll have a half-hour lunch. But we quickly outgrew just me. So now I have 3 other people working and a physical therapist working with me now. We've got a pro athlete jiu-jitsu girl who's internationally ranked, and she's doing smart training. My son, who I didn't push into this, my son wants to take over the business now. So he's going to college, get his kinesiology degree while he's in high school, which is cool. He's already certified as a trainer, already has his own client load. Zoe, the newest intern who's joining our team, now has a client load. And then we're taking on a microbiologist who's also a physical therapist, but she got her training in Turkey. She's my physical therapist's new wife. and she's all at our center right now, and it's really cohesive because we're like-minded, we share the same faith, so we're held accountable to each other on multiple levels. And so I'm just confident in these people. I can give them the keys and they're going to take care of people. It's opened up a whole bunch of slots. So I have an ego just like every other, middle-aged guy. We're in our 50s. I'm mid 50s,
Man, anyone who's not watching, if you're not watching this on YouTube, this guy's a super fit beast athlete. He has a fanny pack that's kind of weird, but besides that, the guy is pretty studly dude. But I mean, like that, and and I know for you, it's hard to let go of the keys because you want to help every single person. So the limiting factor was you. As in my practice, the limiting factor has been me, and that kind of brings me around to another topic, is that Restore Health, they've been really after me for a couple of years saying, hey, let's work together. And I was never happy with the program. I didn't think it fit to what we were doing. And now they have educators who are trained by you. And I know, what you're doing. And so now we have the best of both worlds. We're able to have an app that we're both doing that we can have 5 minutes a day, 10 minutes, keep people on focus, talk about all the other things, the spiritual side of it, the mental side, the sleep, all these other factors that we miss out on because we're just saying, okay, what's your macros, what's your food, right? Not saying how's your marriage, how's life, and so to be able to have this kind of camaraderie, and the other thing, I hate to give you a big head right now, is I do Zoom meetings every 2 weeks with all my patients who are doing metabolic health and all that, and that's all going to be included with this new Restore program, which I'm really excited about, because the bigger the community, the better, because people are helping each other like crazy. But when I see my Zoom meetings, the ones who show up every time are the ones who are working out with you and working with me, because they're having benefit. They want to help other people. Now they want to give back. And you would have a big head if you heard what they said. They love it. They said, I hate working out, but I love working out with Jeff. I love going in there and doing Ben's workout and you guys collaborating and how the world works. Because you call me and go, Brian, this crazy guy wants to come to my gym and talk. Can you come and see? And it turns out it's Ben Bakikio, right?
Yes.
And then you changed your whole nutrition plan over. And then you change your entire workout plan like a year later, and everyone's looking at you and saying, wait a minute, you trained me on other stuff. Now you're like Tim Noakes in a way that way, right?
It's in my own little North American sports nutrition niche. Yeah, that's exactly what happened. One, when I first realized that this was a Damascus moment, when I realized, hey, I'm hurting people, I'm not helping people, I kind of got a headache. I went on my website and did a YouTube to everybody associated with the National Association of Sports Nutrition. That's the organization that I direct. And I started out, the title of it was, sorry, I was wrong. And my wife was like, don't do that. Don't tell everyone that you made a big mistake. And I just wanted to own up to it. After our conversation, after my own epiphany and my own health on how this is creeping up on us, on how we can predict based on stuff that you even said at the last conference 2 weeks ago, the Low Carb USA conference. We can predict things almost a decade in advance. We can go before the horse and be prepared, realizing that now we knew this and that I was leading people down a wrong road. It was troubling for me. I had to own up to it. And so we went on and said, listen, we're going to change things. Research and both medically and in performance have shown that what we're doing is not the right advice. We're going to switch over. And there was a lot of pushback. There were a lot of high-end personal trainers that are doing very, very well because they're in their own niche. They have their own clientele that just happen to be very naturally insulin sensitive. And they're like, what are you talking about? I'm going to keep doing the brown rice, oatmeal, quinoa. These are staples. These are healthy. That's what my registered dietitian is telling me. I have cardiologists backing me. What about Dean Ornish? And what about the founder of the aerobics guy? But other names, big names in the industry that are high carb. So we lost a lot. And then Ben Bokikio rolls into town with a book that the first time I saw it, totally looked like an infomercial. 15 minutes to fitness. What is this?
Yeah, we both laughed. I said, this guy's a quack. He's a nutcase. But I'll come
Exactly.
see him. And that's when I got to meet him at your place, because I avoid him. Like, I'm not going to talk to this guy. He's a joke. And then I realized, Then I pulled him aside. And I go, come on, Ben, no BS. Let's talk. And he told me, and I was like, oh my gosh, like poor. And the first thing I thought is poor Jeff, because if this guy's right, poor Jeff is going to have to change his whole extra. He just went through a year of changing his nutrition plan. Then you go through another year of changing your fitness recommendations. And that's after 30 years, you think, my gosh, like changing it. Like for me as a doc, I go, okay, remember that stuff I told you last year? I was wrong. And here's the data. And here's what and that's what we had to do. And I think that's the problem we get into is people are not willing to reassess you were able to reassess the data and look and see your results with patients and what was working and say, this isn't working.
I think as a practitioner, you really take pride in after years of experience of being almost autonomic, almost like secondhand. You go in and this is what I do with the client, and you can do it basically in your sleep because you're so good and set in your ways. And the hardest part for me was now I had to change every procedure, the way you assess the client. I'm not counting reps anymore. I'm not, we're not judging rest intervals. So the complete dynamic of the workout changed, and the way we had to teach that changed. So that was like bringing me back from advanced guy all the way back to now I got to crawl again. And a lot of practitioners, I think a lot of the reason why we get pushback is they're like, I'm not changing everything. That's just too much energy, especially if you're back to back with clients or patients and you have to be efficient and you have to expedite things. To go back and have to rethink everything is really, really hard. But Ben's book, which I originally thought would be right there, it's the book that you see right next to Suzanne Summers' Thigh Master and all these other infomercials, Tony Little and all this.
The ab roller and
ab roller stuff. But it's actually a textbook now, a textbook in our personal training course, in our metabolic practitioner course. And other universities and colleges are looking at this book, as a scientific document. Now, Ben, God bless him, is a guy from my old neighborhood in Staten Island, and he writes like he speaks. He kind of, when you read it, you think you're reading from this old Italian neighborhood, Staten Island.
You're in a mafia meeting here.
Exactly, right? Exactly. But then the guy's got 2 PhDs, and to have a conversation with him, it'll quickly get up here, and he'll start to talk about biochemistry and hormones and metabolites that you have to think, wow, I got to mentally sprint to keep up with this guy. And what he says just makes so much sense.
Yeah, and then you came in and said, look, from my perspective, here's things that I think maybe just don't fit 100% well, but you guys are saying, have you thought about this? And this is how we all grow. We look at it from a different way of saying, let's give butter and bacon to everyone all day long. You say, well, that doesn't make sense either, guys. Why don't we try this? And so that's how we all learn from each other, and we all grow and we all help each other. And all of you guys have been so as a matter of fact, my first medical conference I did talking low carb, which was, I'm like, hey, Jeff, do you want to join me? Because you have credibility. I'm just a doc who's learning this stuff. But that, and then having Brett Scher from Diet Doctor now, and Doug Reynolds and other people jumping in to volunteer. We all did it for free and we said, hey, let's help people. And it was really awesome. Like that was the outcome of that was really amazing.
I think that's the faith thing, because the rewarding experience I would get when someone would win a bodybuilding show or even win a race. I mean, it's like watching a football game and your team wins. Well, now your client wins. That reward is fleeting and it's superficial. But then when you and I work together and a patient reverses their diabetes, a patient puts a stop to the progression of their heart disease, a patient who couldn't walk and balance is now getting up and walking, and they're able to bend and stretch and move. They're heading towards a wheelchair, and we steer them away from that. And with God's help,
I remember, Jeff, I don't know if you remember this, but she was a client of yours, and she came to our conference and she had COPD and she was on oxygen, and she was changing her oxygen tank in the back, and it was making all this racket and noise. I think all the, it was off gassing and all. I'm like, Jeff, who is this lady, man? But then I ran into her 3 months later. She goes, guess what? I'm off my oxygen. I'm exercising. I'm doing stuff. And you're like, wow, this lady couldn't move, and now she's able to have a life again. And you go, wow, that's a miracle. That is just amazing stuff. Right.
Right. And that's what fuels us to get up at 3:30, go to bed at 10 o'clock at night. I think the fact that we're following our purpose, following our calling. We're counterculture. We're not doing what the masses are doing, but my business is flourishing so much now than it's ever in the last 30 years. And it's taking less effort. One, because we're marketing, we're not even really marketing. We're just providing something that the masses, that 85% of the population need. 15%, they're fine. I think they're insulin sensitive and they can get by with eating whatever. But the rest of us, we have to be conscious of it, and it's much more fulfilling for me. I'm happy that my business made this change. I'm happy that you and I had that conversation, because I feel like I'm following my calling more. I feel like I'm more on task for what I'm supposed to do, and it's less superficial. It's more meaningful to enhance someone's life so that they can make them better, make them do what they maybe don't want to do, so they can be who God wants them to be. So they can be who they're supposed to be. From a philosophical standpoint, there are a lot of Christians out there that avoid the 7 deadly sins, but the culture weighs them down because they think they're eating healthy and they're not. They think they're exercising to the point where they're not recovering because they're doing all this cardio and nothing that's efficient and beneficial. They're not operating the way God designed them. And then all of a sudden, when they do that, other things happen in their lives. And that's fulfilling to hear about other things than the workout and nutrition, to hear that other things fall into place. They get a better job. They have more energy. Their marriage improves. They can play with their grandkids more. Things fall into their life where if they were still sick and tired, they wouldn't have been able to do those things. All right, I feel like that. I mean, that's as good or better than getting paid,
Yeah. And to see what you're doing as far as like, just to see the workout, like, what I do a lot of times, I'll bring a group of 8 people who want to learn this workout to Jeff's place. I go, hey, let's all go work out together. And we build camaraderie that way. But a certain percentage of those people say, okay, I want Jeff to help me because you get it. But I have people that I take in there that say, oh, I have a bad knee, so I can't do work. Oh, I have a bad shoulder. And Jeff's like, oh, we can work around this. Here's a workaround. Let's get you as fit as you can. We don't want you to get hurt, but let's do it in a way where you can improve on what you got.
Yeah. I think that a perspective of exercise for a certain percentage of the population is that's not for me. They look into the big box gym and they see a lot of fit people, a lot of people sweating and yelling and screaming in aerobics class, and then they just can't get there. Their body is not able to do a traditional workout. But the workouts that we're doing right now are shorter than most workouts. You're done in about 20 minutes. And that's with my little spin on it. Dr. Ben will go right into just specific smart training. I'll do a pre kind of workout, a kind of a stretch, a dynamic warm up that works on mobility and kinesthetic awareness and things like that. And that helps people with joint issues or balance issues. And I can roll all that into a 25-minute workout. They're done. They only have to do it twice a week, whereas other clients, we were working them out 6 days a week and not getting the results that we're getting, and in twice a week. Now, obviously, you're not sedentary for the rest of that time. You want to be active, but I have some baseball players that are getting looked at professionally, and they're doing Dr. Ben stuff. They're doing this smart training with my little spin on it, and it's helping their performance better than the guys out there just doing 3 sets of 10. So it's just amazing to me that we can do something that is less timely, more effective, and provide a greater result with this.
Yeah, and just the result of that, like one of my guys, great guy, he started over like 350, and now he's in the 200, high 290s, right, or mid 290s now. But he says, I'm playing basketball again, or he was at Disneyland and he said, guess what? I said, what was the highlight of your week? He said, my 7-year-old daughter challenged me to a race to the car, and it was a fairly good distance. And I was like, what happened? He said, my first thought was, I can't run against her. I'll hurt myself. Then he said, I'm in pretty good shape. I'll give it a shot. Let's go. So he raced her, and I said, what happened? Who won? He said, I smoked her. And he said, I didn't even have to cheat. He said, before I wouldn't even consider it. I would just sat there and walked and not ran. But and then they laughed afterward, and they had fun, and they were, and he said, I wouldn't be able to do that. He said, I thought those days were over. And his wife, when they got to the car, said, I haven't seen you run since high school, right? just the fact that he can do it now. And I see you giving people that ability, and that's so cool, man. Just awesome when where people like, some of the patients we have in common that are in their late 80s and they're still
Yeah.
pumping iron and they're doing their thing and they're getting better as they get older. And it's amazing to see.
I want to tell you that it's also the reverse. During the workout, your patients are always talking about you. They're either talking about a podcast, you've made a name for yourself in this world, and they want to discuss what you've talked about. They want to understand it. They ask questions. They want to lift more than you do.
I know.
Yeah,
I know. You know who he is. He's like, have you been to the Jeffs lately? I said, no, I haven't been in a while. He's like, oh yeah, look at the board. Who's up there? Because Jeff always puts the highest one. And some of my patients that you would never think.
Yes.
Right. One of my favorites. She has the skinniest legs on earth and she's strong as heck. And I keep saying, put some muscle on this lady. And I'm like, he goes, she's strong. She's breaking. She's the strongest one here. Right. And you're like, man. So it's cool. And, I have an amazing couple that I'll bring on to tell their story. They're killing it with you, man. They're just so healthy and so like, I look at them, I laugh. I'm thinking, my gosh, like it's a different person. Yes. Like they're just a different machine, right?
A couple that we share, very nice, retired pharmacists who will greet you and say, yes, we're retired. Please, we apologize. They're like apologizing for all the prescriptions they've filled. I think that's kind of funny. He is 79 years old now. This isn't everybody, but he's 79 years old. And when it comes to leg extensions on my machine, all right, I load it up with 3 plates. Then I'm heavier than I've ever been in my life now on this low carb program, and leaner. I weigh 215 now. Before I started doing this, my average weight walking around was 2. I can put on more muscle easy with the program that you shared with me. I stand on the leg extension machine for him to do his smart training, right? He's 79 years old. 3 plates is 135. I weigh 215, and he is time under tension doing leg extensions with that weight.
Yeah. So, I think the big thing out there is, hey, don't give up hope. Even if you've been sitting on the couch for 5 years, people like Jeff can do miracles, right? And working together, you get the nutrition right and the exercise and the mindset and having someone who cares and they're in your corner and having the accountability. All these things are critical. These are the big things, because I have patients, they do great. And then they go on their own for 3 months and they call me and go, I need to come back, right? I'm in trouble again. So then we get back on track. It's all good. So, but people who are consistent with you, they just keep plugging along and they know they're meeting with you and they want to do well and they want to please you. And so it's amazing, but people love it because it's not like you're yelling at them and being a drill sergeant. You figure out how to motivate them. And let's talk about those kind of things for a minute, like finding your why. You mentioned that, and that's so important, because I think once we forget our why we're doing it, we get off track, myself included. I just said this morning, okay, I'm getting back and working out harder. I've been lazy the last couple of months and I haven't been pushing it because of all of our crazy busyness. So I'm like, that's it. I got to refocus. So how do you get in someone's brain and get them to keep coming back, or to keep taking one step at a time?
From the very get-go, I think that the first question you need to ask client is, why are you here? What is your why? And you never can forget that. And, for an athlete or for a bride getting ready to fit into that wedding gown, that why is very obvious and very clear. For some other people, it's a little ambiguous. I'll get clients who are pre-diabetic. It's the first time that their A1C's been, 7, and they're exercise intolerant. They hate exercise. And they'll come in and say, why? They'll ask me, why am I here? And I'll have to remind them, well, you said you'd give me 30 days to lower that A1C. You said you'd give me 30 days to lower your fasting insulin. And let's see if we can do that. And let's see if we can make it as painless as possible. You hate exercise. Well, 20 minutes is not that long. All right. If you have to do exercise any other way, to get the same result, you're going to have to do a lot more. So let's go through this. So it's a constant conversation. So you have to ask them what their why is, but it also may shift. So I've had brides who got into that wedding dress, loved it, was perfect, got this picture, all the wedding photos are beautiful, but then they went away on a 2-week honeymoon and binged to the point of, it was celebration off the chart. And now they come back and they're like, oh, can you fix me, please? I can't even come close to fitting into that wedding dress. So
And once it starts, it doesn't reverse unless you intervene, right? That's the problem with a lot of us now. I'm trying to get back to where you are now. And so maintaining it, what you're doing is the key of saying, okay, let's maintain it before you go off the rails and gain back 50 pounds. If you gain back 10, 15, 20, we can work on that. But once you get 15, then 50, then it's really, really hard. It's doable, but it just gets more challenging every single time.
Yeah. Yes. So some clients respond to you kind of strong arming them, taking control and saying, this is what you need to do. And other clients, if you do that same thing, they're going to run. They don't want to be controlled. They want to be in the driving seat. They want to make the decisions. And just like you talked over the conference with Joan, you really have to kind of assess which is going to best motivate, which is going to provide that behavior modification that you want. And so in one way, you have to ask the leading questions that we talked about and just kind of make them make their own decision. And then there's the other kind of client that says, no, you make the decision. And you get that certain percentage of clientele that'll be like, I don't know, I don't know why I'm doing this. I know that it's going to get me a result. Don't tell me the intricacies. Just tell me what I have to do. To me, those are hard clients because they just want the result and they don't care why. And
yeah. That's the hardest for me too. The hardest patient says, just tell me what to eat and I'll eat that. And I'm not going to don't you want to understand what we're doing and how it works and why it's important to put on muscle? Like, that's what I mean is we both know now, the more muscle people put on, the longer they live, right? The more muscle you put on, the less visceral fat, the lower your insulin goes, the more healthy you are. So they go together. And that was something I had to really think about and learn and say, okay, what really matters most, diet or exercise? And you came along and said, well, they both matter, right? I remember you telling me one time, because I said, Jess, what's more important, diet or exercise? And he goes, and you said, Brian, do you ever fly? I said, yeah. And he goes, what's more important, the right wing or the left wing when you're flying? Right. You're not going to do well without one. You're going to crash and burn either way. So now I say, well, maybe the diet is the big front wings and the exercise is the smaller wings in the back, but you need both. You really do. I know I feel a lot better when I'm working out more and more active and mentally, physically. There's so many emotional things that come with activity or accomplishing something or getting a little bit stronger or just taking that next step or your pants being a little looser, whatever it is, right?
Yeah. There are people that believe that they're the exception to the rule, that they can do it without exercise or they can do it without diet, right? There's those people that say, my why for exercise is so I can eat whatever I want. And eventually they're going to reach a plateau. Eventually they're going to realize that that's not the case. And then there are some people that say, listen, I really hate exercise, so I'm going to pay attention to what I eat. And without exercise, they're going to hit a wall as well. Now, I don't want to discount that N of one, that everyone doesn't fit the same mold. Everyone's different. I think that that's a big reason why you and I are in business. We help fine tune the individual nuances. We find the outliers, or we find that the specifics that an individual is going to follow to get success. That's not within the general rule. For instance, with Dr. Ben, the general rule is no exercise for 72 hours. But I have a low-carb exerciser that is doing smart training 3 times a week, every 48 hours, and she's getting great gains. In fact, she gets less gains when she goes twice a week. And she likes that habit. So for her, for that specific client, she can afford that short recovery. Now, is that everyone? No. Is that the minority? Yes. But for her, it works.
Exactly. And then you figure out what works for that person. If they're getting injured, you say, okay, let's start moving it around. Let's do other stuff. And so, yeah, that's the importance of having someone who can look and assess. Because I know for a fact when I do my workout alone, it's not as intense as when I do with you, because I'm like, I don't want to be wimpy. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to keep pushing. I'm going to do 1 more, 2 more because Jeff's watching, right? So it makes a difference at the gym. Like, okay, I'm done. I'll work harder next time, right? I mean, we get into that mindset. So that's one of the mindsets I'm trying to overcome, and I may have to come work out with you a couple of times to get back on track, just to make sure I'm pushing it enough. But it's an amazing thing. Like, what we're doing together. It's pretty cool.
Oh, it is. And because I'm associated with you, I get the validation that it is safe and correct. How many times do I get from if I change something in the workout or we talk about something nutritional, they want to verify, well, would Dr. Brian say that this is okay? Or does Dr. Brian agree with that? And
they tell me the same about you. Jeff says
yeah,
this. I'm like, okay, cool. Let's try it and see. If you want to
right,
do more protein, cut the fat down. Great. Let's see. And let's see what
right,
happens. Like you and I have had miracle stuff where we have one guy I just ran into at the conference. He was stuck at 90 pounds of weight loss and he couldn't lose anymore. And we got him on your metabolic, looked at his metabolic rate and you go, oh, you're not eating enough. Let's go up.
yeah,
He said, what are you kidding me? I'm starving myself and I'm not losing weight already. He starts eating more and losing weight. And he looks at
yeah,
us like, how in the heck did you know? Right. It's amazing. Sometimes we just give the body what it wants, and you're very good at tweaking it and saying, okay, let's just try this for a few days, see what happens. Let's treat. We're doing the same thing. As it's the scientific method of saying, okay, we're plateaued, things aren't working. I don't know. I haven't told you this, but I did one meal a day for 2 months and I lost 0 pounds. So I was like, okay, this isn't working for me.
right.
Doesn't work.
Wow.
So I'm
Wow.
going to change it up and do something different now and step up the workout, maybe have a couple eggs for lunch or whatever, just figure
Yeah,
something
yeah.
out that my body doesn't, other people do great. I have patients I work with that do great. So you figure out, okay, what works for you? Okay, perfect. Change it up. Don't do the same thing all the time.
That's Doug Reynolds, one meal a day. But for me, maybe it's psychological, maybe it's physiological. But if I skip breakfast and lunch, I'm hangry. I'm distracted. By the 16th client, I'm thinking about food, not what they're doing. So I feel like I have to eat a little something. I still eat breakfast most days when I'm not intermittent fasting. Maybe because it's habit, or maybe because I feel like it energizes me for that 16-hour day.
And you're a lean guy and you have a lot of muscle mass, so it's just going with your muscles. Who cares? It's not a big deal in your case, as opposed to a 350-pound diabetic, right? It's a different game.
My fasting insulin is back down; it's bottomed out, and I'm thankful for that. I feel like the synergy with us, and I see at the conference that the model that you and I have is something that needs to be duplicated, and other people are wanting to do the same thing. Whereas the medical professional, the doctor, is the architect. He's the overseer. He's the one that's going to actually make sure the person's on a medically healthy path. And then I'm kind of the new pharmacist. I'm fulfilling that prescription of the exercise and the diet. You set the parameters, and then we just kind of mess with the little parts of it. And then together, we're spending an unbelievable amount of time with the client, whereas the traditional physician only has a few minutes to lay out a whole plan or give them a prescription for something, typically medication, right? For you, it's here's your prescription for lifestyle, and then I help implement that and answer questions. And we've got these things like this Libre continuous glucose monitor, where I have the capacity. They can be on my phone. They share their advice, or not their advice. I share advice after I can see at 10 o'clock at night, if someone's blood sugar is 50 or someone's blood sugar is 250, then I can send them a quick text and help implement and kind of give them feedback where together they have an experience of, wow, these people are really monitoring me. Wow, somebody's actually looking at my glucose when I take it.
And you bring stuff to my attention. And it's amazing because you'll go, Brian, look at this. I go, look, it's every time she works out with you, her sugars go crazy. The other day, she's pretty good.
Yeah.
Right. It's amazing the physiologic effects some people have where their sugars. I'm not worried about the sugar going up if you're doing something to make it that's healthy, that's making it happen. But then we can keep an eye on, we can talk to him about stress. We can talk to him about what's going on. That's why having two people looking and keeping an eye from all of our perspectives, and you and I can touch base and go, hey, Jeff, what do you think about this person? I mean, are they pushing their workouts hard enough? They're not getting the results we should be getting. And then we can both work on that patient. It's amazing. It really is remarkable what we can accomplish. And I know you're doing it's kind of like in the hospital, the doctors write the orders and walk away, and then nurses come in and do all the hard work, right?
Yeah.
And they go, wow, what a great doctor. He didn't do anything. He just wrote orders. And then, so it's kind of the same thing. It's like the hard work is what you're doing, is getting them to stay on track, to work out, to come in, even if they hate to work out. Then after a while, they love it. And I'm like, oh, you're still working with Jeff? I'm never quitting. I'm never quitting. And other people go, I just want to go once and just feel what it's like. And then they go, because the other thing is that you had to change a lot of what you were doing because of COVID. Like this impacted me. I came to meet with you one night and we were talking, and you had to close your gym down. I'm thinking, man, you still paying your overhead, all that stuff. You can't have people come to the gym. And it was devastating. But as I was driving by to your place, I drove by, there was a strip club on the corner and it's packed with cars. And I was thinking, man, oh man, Jeff's helping people and getting, and it really struck me. I was thinking, man, they have better attorneys. They have enough money where they can fight it, and they fought it and they won. But the point is, like, gosh darn it, who's doing better for people's health? They're sitting there drinking and, you know,
Yeah.
getting deprived and, getting bad thoughts in their brain, all that stuff. And it's like, man, those same people would be so much more benefited to work out in your place. Like, amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. So we had to do a pivot during COVID. When everything was shut down, we went to virtual, and thank God for Zoom. This is being recorded on Zoom. So we've done virtual workouts, and we can do these smart workouts virtually. And God blessed the company that way, in that I was not focused on, well, who can drive to the center anymore. I was focused on, well, anybody with an internet connection. So we had people in Florida and Philadelphia and New Jersey now as clients, and now that their local gym is open, they're still so happy with their virtual results of training in their home, not having to worry about driving somewhere or getting on someone else's sweaty equipment. We've developed a little home workout area, and I'm right there. The only hard thing is I can't physically spot them and touch them, but we set it up so that they can do it virtually. And those people are still staying with me, even though the doors are back open. So
yeah, and they can do it at home, and they know how to do it. Now they got their total gym, or they got their bands, or they got their weights, however they want to do it. And it gives them such flexibility. The problem is you take away everyone's excuses, right? Like, this morning I was like, oh, I got stuff to do. I'm going to work out. I want to work out because, I feel better. And so I think it's that where we just make it a lifestyle. You go, look, twice a week I work out. The rest of the time going for walks, or what you and Ben would say is activity, going for walks or playing pickleball or doing whatever you're going to do.
Yeah.
Hikes, things like that. But doing this workout twice a week, and I'm seeing benefits from a osteoporosis standpoint, obviously from diabetes and obesity and mental functioning and anxiety and all these things. I'm like, man, this is so great. I mean, I could never do this. And I remember one time I was walking with my wife, and I said, wouldn't it be so awesome if I get my patient, we could all go for a walk in the neighborhood together and just talk about life, and it's happening. It's crazy. It's so cool to build this community. And you've been the backbone of having low carb San Diego meetings, and we get people who are interested, or vendors, and you have them come in and help people to stay on track, whatever works for them. And I think it's just been such a great fit of what we can do, and there's so much more potential of what we can do to help people, and it's just cool, man. So I got it.
Cool.
I got to transition for a minute. I'll go ahead, man. Then we'll transition for a sec.
I'm happier in my home life and in my business than I've ever been in my 30-something year career, because I think we're doing the right thing for the right people, and we're getting rewarded for that. We're getting blessed for that. And I think the medical experience or the physical experience is what you would want it to be. It's a collaborative effort. It's holistic. We're dealing with the whole person, which are all the criticisms of modern medicine right now I think are countered by what you've developed here in this kind of low carb SD, low carb doc community. I don't know what else to say other than I think we're doing the right thing. After this conference and being with you and seeing the progression of all this, I'm really confident that we are giving the most cutting edge, top of the line advice. I feel like the workouts that we give, the nutritional advice that we give, and then the medical direction that we give is just, it's contemporary. It's fresh off the presses of research. We're watching people actually announce new research. So we're right there when new research and new things come out, and we're able to apply them immediately. You don't have to wait a year to get involved with something that's new, or something that's profound that's been discovered. We can implement that right now, and I don't think that's happening any other place.
Yeah, and you came from a world. You may know the stat on this. I remember reading it one time, and I was blown away. And they were interviewing world-class, like Olympic athletes, and they said, if we can guarantee you a gold medal, and I think it was 10 years off your life, would you do it? If we can inject you with something to give you'll win the gold medal, but you'll die 10 years early. I think it was either 5 or 10 years. People said, like 90% said, I'll do it.
Yes. More than 90%.
Yeah, more than 90%. You realize, my gosh, you get a diagnosis of diabetes, you're going to die 6 years younger than the other people around you on average, right? We know that for a fact. Plus, the number one cause of non-traumatic amputations is diabetes and
Yes.
blindness and dialysis and all this stuff. So it's not just about six-pack abs, it's about being healthy and fit. So we get joy when someone who couldn't get off the floor before is now jumping up off the floor and standing up. They're not going to ever have six-pack abs probably, but they're going to feel good and they can get up and they say, I can play with my grandkids again. Now I'm at the park.
Right.
I'm on the swings with them. I'm not just sitting on the sidelines,
Yeah, that's
and,
right.
playing soccer, doing different things like that. You don't have to be a world-class athlete. It's about being able to enjoy your life again. Right.
Being able to just walk. They don't care about six-pack abs. I just want to be able to walk. I want to be able to go down to the mailbox, get my mail, and come back. And I want to be able to go to the store without assistance. That's a huge thing. Now, does a 21-year-old think about that? Typically not, unless they're a type 1 or unless they're experiencing things like that. They don't think about that. But for the rest of us, I want to be ambulatory for the most of my life. I want to still be doing what I'm doing because I get enjoyment and fulfillment out of this. Even when I'm in my 70s and 80s, I feel like I'm following my purpose. So don't incapacitate me. Don't let me do something to incapacitate myself, to not let me fulfill my purpose. That's devastating.
Yeah. And that's true in ministry too. And people just can't go out because people don't take them serious, or in your work, or if you're a salesperson, if you're morbidly obese, people just don't take you. It's not fair, but that's what people think. They go, oh, this is a lazy glutton person, right? And it's so hard. So there's so many other things that come with this baggage, and it's so difficult. So I have to transition and ask you, man, what's life's best medicine for you? What do you do when times are down, when you went through a lot of trials and changing everything and getting ridiculed by people because you changed your stance on a lot of stuff, being a master of sports medicine, all of a sudden, sports nutrition, and now all of a sudden you have to change your tacks. Where do you find your strength? What keeps you going? What gets you out of bed early in the morning when the rest of us are still sleeping?
Yeah. Well, the first thing that I do when I wake up in the morning is a morning devotional. I feel like I got to get right with God. I got to realize that it's not about me getting it done. I got to realize that I got to let someone else, God, who's got my best interest, lead the way. Because if I'm left to my own devices, I'm going to screw it up. Case in point, Gatorade was the holy grail. Gatorade was what we're supposed to give everybody, and carb load, and let's eat pasta. That was just me saying, listen, I want to do my own thing. I mean, my whole testimony, if we get into that another time, my whole testimony was, God, do this for me and I'll be the best person for you. Until I just said, what do you have for me? What did you make me for? What did you design me for? Until I got to that epiphany, I was beating my head against the wall. I wasn't doing the right thing. So I'm not the biggest fan of Facebook, but it holds me accountable. So I'll do a long devotional, and then I'll summarize the devotional or whatever's on my heart into a small paragraph and post it around 4:30 every morning on Facebook. Jeff Kotterman. It's if you want to read it, you can read it, and that sets the tone for my day, and that changes my mood for the day. That puts my armor on for things that might come up in the day, for clients that might tell me they have cancer, or clients that might have gotten injured, or other stresses, or clients lose their job or stuff like that. That's down, or just things that life that might get in your way that get you down, And then thank God that I have a supportive family. I have a son and daughter that are totally supportive of the business. They want to be part of the business. I have a wife that has just put up with these crazy hours for 24 years, and falling back on those things are kind of my backbone. So God first, family second, and realizing that no bad thing can totally destroy those two foundational things, and that's what gets me through my day. I am blessed to the point where at 8 o'clock at night, I come home to a home cooked meal, where I walk in the door and my wife's still got the germaphobe, well-founded nowadays. Wash your hands. Wait, wash your hands. Okay, now I'll give you a kiss. And I get a hot meal after a long day. That's set. The table is set. And man, that gets me fueled up to do it again the next day. And that's what gets me through things when I'm down.
Yeah, and I see that. I mean, that's apparent to anyone who sees you and your family, how you all get along and love each other and support each other and going through all this craziness together and just fighting through it, you know, and we kind of have the same kind of family stuff. So all the other stuff is just a distraction at some point, right?
Yeah. It's nice to look forward after a long day of work that you love to do, but it's nice to look forward to coming home to people that genuinely love you and like you and want to be around you. That's it.
Yeah, that's huge. That's life's best medicine, man. Really.
Yeah.
I mean, when you think about it, that's ultimately what matters, not what, you know, what someone says about you on Facebook or
what
Twitter
somebody,
or whatever.
exactly what somebody says or about you. Let that roll off your back, obviously. Yeah.
Yeah, man. So, hey, it's an honor having you on. I'm glad we've been negligent at getting you on here, but I think it's really important for people to hear what you're doing in the community and the investment and all the free, both of us have done a lot of free stuff and stuff that we just enjoy. Go, hey, we're going to help people. Let's just do it. We gave a couple of talks together actually at churches and things like that. And go, okay, let's try to help people. Right.
Yeah. Even just this conversation, this conversation is validation, Brian, that we're doing the right thing. And I think we're obviously being blessed by it. And I'm just privileged and honored to be able to be part of it. Because if I wasn't, I'd be on the outside looking in saying, I want to do that. Because I feel like we're right where we should be. And that's a good feeling. That's a great feeling, man.
Yeah, I feel the same way. And it's just great because obviously we don't have financial interest, but we have a huge amount. Other than you give my patrons a discount, I give yours a discount. So that's cool. But, you know, I think it's just when you can encourage each other and say, okay, well, it's a mutually inclusive, all boats float together. And we just help each other. You know, we do what we can and we help other people. And as we do the right thing, then they go and tell their friends, and then we get more people coming in because we don't have to advertise. It's word of mouth, right? So it's just awesome having a community too that we're building.
You read my mind. You know, social media and marketing and advertising are as least important as they've ever been right now, because just word of mouth, just referral has made the business grow, and that's the best thing. That's the best way to grow a business, right?
Yeah. So speaking of growing business, man, how do people track you down if they want to follow you? And man, I have not been on. I just got burned out on Facebook. I haven't even looked at it. So I always love that those postings you did early in the morning. So I might have to go and just look at that and block everything else out.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Just a little paragraph. You can reach me at trisystem.com, TRISYSTEM.com. Email me anytime, Jeff@trisystem.com. And that's our center. And then if you are interested in paying it forward and actually getting certified or licensed, that's NASnutrition.com, National Association of Sports Nutrition .com. So NASnutrition.com. You can look at our programs there, our association with low carb MD, low carb USA are there. And I'd be happy to answer an email or even a phone call. We've got an 800 number. It's 1-800-538-2348. And see if I pick up the phone. If I'm with a client, I probably won't, but if I'm not, I'll answer that phone call.
Yep. And you know, I'm at lowcarbmdsandiego.com. I never say that, but the reason I say that is we have a new plan we're doing that is using health coaches that Jeff personally trained. So I'm stoked about it because I wanted to have people who knew what they were doing from a sports and exercise and sports nutrition standpoint. So I'm really excited about this program because it allows people to meet with me less frequently or not meet with me. And then also becoming part of our community where you can join all of our Zoom meetings and everything we do and just be part of the community. So I think it's really awesome just to have that accountability and also building a community is really huge. And that's what we have to do. Yes. And so we're going to continue building that here in San Diego. So move to San Diego because everyone else is moving out of California, it looks like, but we're just stuck here in the sun and beauty.
Yes. Right? And the palm trees
and all that kind of stuff and the beaches, but we don't get to see them as much as we like to. So one of these days, Jeff, we're getting together and we're going to hang out. So, hey, thanks for all you're doing in the community. Thanks for spending an hour of your Sunday with me. And
thanks for having me, Brian. It's always a fun time when we get together and are able to talk.
Yeah, we have to do it offline now. So everyone, remember, be kind to yourself, be kind to others, get out there, just take that step. If you've been lazy for the last 20 years, start now. It doesn't matter. If you're a bunch of overweight, everyone's going to love you at Jeff's place, my place. Let's just take that first step. We got it. Don't worry about the past, worry about the future, and just, let's all make ourselves better.
Amen.
Thank you for listening to this episode. We greatly appreciate your support. We would greatly appreciate a positive thumbs up on all of the platforms like iTunes and Spotify or wherever you're listening. And we just thank you for our Patreon supporters. We greatly appreciate your help in getting this message out. We think there's a lot of important information. And hopefully this helps you. Have a great day, and thank you for listening, and thank you for your support.